Okay, so we're not the recording, although we are going to record it, we're not going to publish it anywhere. It's just a matter of the speakers if they would like to have a copy of it, or we can take screenshots just to show that everybody was participating. So welcome to this webinar. It's about digital mindfulness. Quickly, what we have arranged is just a small introduction why we're doing this, a few words about our project, why we're doing it, and under which project this is related to, which is the DigiMind for Youth. Then we'll have Dr. Ataloglu from Greece talking a little bit about digital literacy, the strategic planning, and what's going on in Greece regarding this aspect. Of course, Andreas, you have a few moments to talk a little bit and introduce yourself prior to your presentation. And then we have Mrs. Emma Iturriaga Sauco. I hope I said that correctly. For me, an eye-opening person presenting wonderful things, systemic changes, different ways of approaching things and perspective, and really mind-opening and very, very interesting. And then we'll have a short discussion. So we are a partner, Drosostalida. I'm Sofia from Drosostalida Social Enterprise. We are a partner in this project. It's a European Erasmus Plus project for 3 years. We have partners who are participating on this webinar from Italy, from Spain. I don't know if we have more people from our other countries. I cannot see the participant list right now. And the main aim is what? That digital technology and is changing rapidly. We are being introduced, being aware of, bombarded with different apps, different tools. And we feel this need that we need to cope with everything, be aware of everything. And this might lead to a digital burnout. It might lead to stress. And our project is called Digital Mindfulness for Youth because we are targeting young people. So during this project, we've created a curriculum targeting youth workers, trainers, schools. We've created case studies, and we have created a tool. You can find everything on the website. I'm not going to go online on this website because then I'll talk for 15 minutes, and there's no point in me talking more about this. But you can find more information there. Send us an email soon. Our training content will also be available there. And you can have free access and download all the results. You can use everything in your work. So basically, it's about how you can prepare, how can you empower yourself, and how can you be better supported by different techniques to better mind technology, to be digital mindful. So it's a little bit about your mental health. It's a little bit about how you use technology. And it's a little bit about how you introduce and regularly use technology in a more consistent way. And this was the reason behind this webinar, because we thought that we need to see what the rest of the world or what leading experts are talking about, are thinking, how technology is going to change. And this is the reason why we invited these two speakers to join us in the webinar. So if you have any questions, you can write them in the chat and I can answer your questions in the chat. Otherwise, I propose that Dr. Andreas Ataloglu start his presentation. He can start a little bit talking about himself and presenting a little bit his work. I think that he needs to leave a bit early, so we'll take questions directly after his presentation. And then we'll continue with Mrs. Emma Iturriaga on her presentation on digital mindfulness. And then we will have a discussion. So whatever questions we might have, whatever thoughts and insights open in our minds, we have the time to discuss them further. I would like to give the floor to Andreas.
Hello to all. Happy to see you, Sophia. So a few words about me. My academic background, I'm an economist. I have a master in decision science, and my PhD is on public sector innovation. So what I have done is that I have tried to understand why the public service have to innovate, why do they have to manage properly their projects, and I am in the proper service for this because I'm employed at the unit that manage co-funded from European Social Fund projects. Currently, my position is that I'm the head of monitoring and management unit for ASF actions. And my organization is under the hierarchy of the Ministry of Digital Governance. So the focus is to fund and manage projects that have to do with digital competencies in Greece. And that's why we have the strategy, for which I'm going to talk about. And that's why we are following some projects. We lead some projects that are going to go until the end of this decade. So it's time, I think, to share my presentation.
Good, we can see it.
Yes. Okay, you can see it. It's full screen. So from this presentation, that what I want you all to understand and have is to understand the force. I'm going to speak about the force of the modern economy and how do these lead to change regarding the digital skills and what we want to have in order to compete in the new environment. We will possibly, I think it's going to be a short presentation, but you're going to understand the Greek effort on digital skills and to understand the impact of my program in which I work. And it's going to fund some specific projects regarding the digital skills. So I'm going to have a short presentation about them. So firstly, I'm going to talk about where we are regarding the theory of innovation. We are on the sixth wave, on the sixth cycle of innovation, which is a period that has started some years ago. It's expected to last about 25 years. And as you see in this graph, there is a particular thing. Each innovation wave lasts a shorter and shorter period. So from the fifth wave to the sixth wave, we go from 60 years to 25 years.
Andreas,
that's a lot of change happening.
Andreas,
Yes?
we only see your first screen, your title screen. I don't know if the rest can, if you.
Do you see now? Once again. I just repeat the same thing.
We see your title screen now. We see the innovation cycles.
Okay, I'm going to go to full screen. I hopefully it's going to work. Now you see the full screen?
Yes.
Okay, okay. That's what I want to say is that each innovation cycle creates new markets. In each new market, we have new business leaders. These new business leaders reshape the competition in a global level and create new economic giants. And all this creates more growth. How do we see this? We're going to see it with the next slide. Sophia, is this the next slide? You see it all?
No, we still see the innovation cycles.
Okay, we are going to go to the hard way. Let's see. I don't know why this technology does that. Okay. Now you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So we have two graphs here. On the top of the page, we see a graph that describes the distribution of exports in 1990. And see at the bottom of the slide, we see the distribution of global exports nowadays. What we see is the huge increase in the volume of global trade. That's what I said previously, that the new innovations create growth. The second thing that we see at the bottom graph is that we have the reshape of the global competition. We have a new geoeconomic giant, which is China. Also, we see that the Asian countries are taking a greater part of the global trade. So we have to ask ourselves on which basis do these new economies compete. So I'm going to go to the next slide, hopefully. We are at the next slide.
No.
Ha!
Now
Okay,
yes.
it's going to be page by page. Okay. Our next slide is going to be this one. Okay.
Yes.
So this is a very interesting graph. Very sad for us, the Europeans, because it is a graph that says the assessment of competition in specific technology areas. So what we see is that the global economy is driven by technological innovations, in which China leads in some innovations, US is leading in other innovations, and there is a contested area of competition between them. And Europe is leading on regulation, which is not something of less importance, but it's something that has to take us aware of where are we going. Because the global market is reshaping and Europe has a disadvantage right now. And so Europe takes action to face this disadvantage. And what does it want to say, to do?
Your slide did change, so that was good. Okay.
Did change?
Yes, it
Okay,
did change.
okay.
Good.
Thank you, Sophia, thank you. So European Union created the DigComp framework. It's a framework with which it wants to monitor all the change that happens in technology and how this affects the economy and how can Europe affect this change. And more specifically, because I'm going to speak about a portion of this change, I'm going to speak about the digital competence framework for citizens. So this is a pathway for Europe to say what an average citizen wants to make with technology, how to use the technology. It was the average European Union citizen has to be able to browse the information, to be able to communicate, to use the tools to communicate, to collaborate, to create digital content, to use the new tools with a safe way, so as to be able to protect himself, and mostly and above all, to be able to use these tools in order to create, to solve problems. And this is the basis of creativity. In this instance, I would like to say an example. You may all know, hopefully you know, the music composer Jean César, which was a very known composer of the 80s. He performed some very big electronic concerts that way. So there was an interview with him, and he was asked why did he used the electronic music. That was his format, the electronic music. But they asked him, why did you use older synthesizer and not the newest, the most sophisticated one? And his response was that he was able to control technology and unleash his creativity when he was able to control, to understand it and to manage, to be part of him. And not for the new technology was controlling him, and he was not able to control it. But that's something that we have to take in mind, under consideration, when we are talking about new technologies, because at this moment, we look in, understand, we looked at the new technology and we're trying to understand what's going on. We are not under the position for now to fully understand what's going on and what's happening. So the thing is that we have to improve our digital skills in order to be able to solve problems, to be able to be creative. Now, Sophia, do we have a new slide?
Yes.
Okay. So European Union used a composite index that summarizes relevant indicators across 4 main dimensions. They want to measure what's happening with the human capital, what's happening with connectivity, with integration of digital technology and digital public services. And have some indications. The indicators is important, and give us a glance of what the graph at the center of the page, give us a glance of what's going on with Europe and European countries nowadays. The usual suspects, the Scandinavian countries, are at the top of the game regarding the digital technologies. Greece is at the bottom of this graph, but it's a graph of 2022. I think that we have improvement of the position of Greece, but this is how Europe monitors what's going on with digital competencies. This indicator is important for the formulation of national targets, and we're going to see how these are used in the national targets. This is some indicators just to understand what are we measuring. We are measuring not overall the experts, how many experts we have. We are measuring the progress in digital maturity. So we want to improve the persons who basically understand what's going on with technology, and we also want to improve the experts to make them more able to use new tools. So we want to ameliorate the general situation. So this is the European, what's going on in Europe, and this is what's going on in Greece. In Greece, regarding the ecosystems on digital skills or digital competencies, we have 3 ministries. We have separate programs that run simultaneously. We have universities run programs. We have research centers. We have an organization that creates new certifications. And we have the social partners like the Hellenic Federation of Professionals or the Athens Chambers of Commerce and Industry, who also run projects on digital competencies. So there is an ecosystem in Greece that runs. Regarding the core of the government, we have the Ministry of Digital Governance, Government of Governance, Ministry of Digital Governance is, I think, the most proper, who has published the Digital Transformation Bible, which is our guide. Under the hierarchy of Ministry of Digital Governance, there are 2 organizations that run things on digital competencies. It's my organization, the Operational Authority of Digital Transformation Program, who funds and manages the programs. And it's the National Infrastructure for Research and Technology, the GRNet SA, who creates technologies on this topic. The Digital Transformation Bible focuses on several things that have to do with the new competencies of Greece on digital era. You can see that these targets are also listed in the index DESI that we referred previously. And we're going to focus mostly on digital competence and skills, this part of the Digital Transformation Bible. Regarding our program and how assists the Digital Transformation Bible to achieve its goals, we have 3 goals, main goals. We focus on 3 goals. We found 3 goals. The first goal is the digital investment in the human resource of the country, which is a goal that we are going to speak a lot further about. The second goal is around regarding the Citizens Digital Academy, which is an online platform in which it is uploaded lessons regarding the digital skills, and it's free for the citizens. And the third goal is the National Alliance for Digital Skills and Employment, which is an action that tries to activate the Greek ecosystem on digital skills. So our program wants to strengthen the digital competence and skills. It's for every population, for all the population of Greek. We have programs for the executives of the public administration, for the general population, and also for public and private sector employees. So it's a composite program. The program is budgeted around 130 million euros. It's around 11% of the total budget of the program, which is around 1 billion, hardly speaking. And so it has a lot of actions that we are focusing, actions that have to do with a lot of things regarding the digital skills, but we are going to focus mainly on the actions 3.11 and 3.12, which is almost around 65 million euros. The budget increased in both of these categories, and we are going to speak to you about this in just a few moments. What are the basic elements of the planning of our actions? We propose actions that develop, retrain, and upgrade digital skills. So we are going to fund some online training, digital training. We are going to make it to fund mostly synchronous and asynchronous training, which the physical presence may be combined or not, but we're going to see it's mostly digital distance learning, which is also going to lead to certification, which is very important. It's not going to be just online seminars, but seminars that are going to lead to specific certification. We have two programs that are running right now when we are talking that are going to begin. The first program is the digital reskilling and upskilling of public servants, which is a program that has a target group of around 26,000 employees. It's budgeted around 20 million. And we have a second program, the digital upskilling in the use and management of innovative digital technologies, which is specific in what part? This is a program for medium and high digital maturity persons who has a digital maturity that can go from not how to learn Excel, but how to learn advanced Excel, how to manage artificial intelligence, advanced database, and etc. etc. The target group is 27,000 employees, and its budget is around 62 million euros. So both projects are budgeted around 80 million euros, and are going to run from now until the next until 2027, 2028. Hopefully, they're going to be successful intervention. Hopefully. So thank you for your attention, and I'm ready to ask for any questions. Stop sharing, Sophia.
Thank you so much, Andreas. It's very nice, very interesting. We see the high-level point and the high-level perspective of strategic schemes, initiatives, European goals, Greek goals on digital literacy, and it's a very nice introduction to where we're headed, what to expect, because it's coming. We cannot turn our back to it and say we're taking it a bit slow. No, change is coming and digital use is coming. So do you have any questions for Andreas? Of course, you can post your questions in the chat. Or
I would like Thank you, Sophia. I'm sorry. I would like to ask Andrea, you made a very interesting comment about this decision and the use of analogic and digital tools. And I would like to ask him what is his opinion about this idea of the digital tool is taking the control. So I will go back to the analogical tool to have the control for interactivity. And so I would like to ask him if he can go deeper in this idea.
I didn't listen because it was very low, the volume. Sophia, we have to fix the volume here.
I think, Emma, yes, you are not heard very well, perhaps closer to the mic.
Okay, let me see, because I have actually the headset, so it should be at the volume. Can you hear me best here? No?
I'm trying to cope with it.
A bit better.
Yes,
Oh my God.
Sophia, can you tell me the question, because I hear you very well?
I don't know what I can do in terms of volume from the Zoom. Let me check audio settings.
Thank you. I think I have now. Let me see. Can you hear better here?
A little better, yes.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I can repeat it if it's okay for you. So I was just interested in the comment that you made about this musician that decided to go back to the yes. So I would like to ask your personal opinion about the situation, and if you can go a little bit deeper speaking about this.
Yes, it's something that has impressed me when I have read it years ago. And this is how I understood that what's going on with technology and what's going on with the new knowledge. Because now we are not in position, I believe, to understand what's going on, and we are just playing with technology. We are not in a position to create something new. And I see that this also happens at a higher level, not just on citizen level. They are trying to understand what is artificial intelligence. And it was a post from Ian Bremmer that I read few moments ago, that said that has all the comments of the leaders regarding artificial intelligence. So we have Elon Musk who says, until 2025, we're going to have artificial intelligence that is going to be at the new level. We have other CEOs and other staff academics say, no, artificial intelligence is not smarter than a cat. That's what they say. Or it's not something we must important. So right now we don't understand what's going on, but we for sure see the shape of global economy. That's why I show you also the graph. There is an economic impact of new technologies. They are shaping, and I want to make a comment on that. I read an article about two companies, the Kodak and Instagram. So Kodak, who was a leader in its industry, once had over 100,000 employees. And then went, I think, the bankruptcy or something like that. But Kodak is not with us nowadays. Instagram was sold around, I think, 1 billion euros and had only 12 employees in 2012. So a company with 12 employees was assessed around 1 billion euros. So we have a huge impact of new technologies. We are going to have a huge impact with the new internet technologies, and I can talk about the metaverse and how does this impact the way the global trade is going to be to change. We have management of factories through metaverse that's going to happen right now. So that we're going to have people located in London and who are going to wear these glasses or stuff. They're going to have computers and who are going to run simulations of the factories. And running the simulations, then they are going to upload the simulations to run at the factory which is established at Kazakhstan, India, or whatever. So these are huge changes, and I can't say how going to shape the future, and because nobody can say that. But we saw that we are going to have new geoeconomic giants, and we have to think about our position in this global market.
Thank you, Alessandro. Very interesting your point of view, and actually it's a very important argument about what we are going to speak about.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shall we continue, and the rest of the questions can be put in the chat? So Emma, thank you, Andreas.
Yes.
I have to salute you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
Can you hear me properly now?
Yes, yes,
Sophia?
yes.
Okay, thank you. I am experiencing some slow video here. I don't know if it's the problem of my connection or is the problem in general. Hope it's not freezing my screen. So if in some point you will look at me freezing, please let me know. So first of all, I want to thank you, Sophia. I am so glad to be here to share this discussion with you and with your organization. For me, since the time we met, I have a very direct experience into speaking to you and this idea of digital mindfulness, which is very thoughtful and interesting, but it's very necessary, is what I found really important to emphasize. And so I would like to open up this discussion being a little bit strong with a statement about the digital life. So we can, in order we can discuss properly our subject today, I would like to say, first of all, that I would like to speak in two terms. First, to understand what we can see and how we can explain digital life and digitality in this moment. So in general, and as we saw in the presentation, in Andres' presentation, we tend to speak about innovation in a future term. So we tend to say, okay, technology is going advanced, is going ahead, and all the different things and technologies that we are seeing are driving us to some future. And so we cannot understand future, yes, of course. But when we speak about digitality, I want always be so clear to say that we have to speak about present. Also, we have to speak about past, recent past, because we have already some story about digitality, and we have actually a very particular change on mindsets in generations that you can verify in digital life. So it's very important to don't see these kind of technologies as something that is going to happen, but as something that is already happening. And so we are completely immersed in the process into live digitality as our very own present. So going from this point on present time, and this is very important because actually is one of the main points of mindfulness. So mindfulness is about present time. And digitality needs to be understood and analyzed on present time. So we are going to see this very common point of view in this actually, it can seem that, okay, this is two very different things because mindfulness is about consciousness and individuals and the inner self and how we work with our own minds and conscious. But this is the strong statement that I want to put as a key point of our conversation is what is digitality? Because we can speak and we often speak about what digital life is, what digital transformation is, what is digital innovation, how can we think about digital innovation, how can we change our mind in different points of view when we try to speak of digital life. But we have not the possibility to understand fully with a concept. So with an idea, a clear idea of what digitality is. And this is the main point that I found very useful, very practical as a methodological instrument to work with. So when I make a training or when I work with the students or in consultancy, I always find that everyone is going ahead the idea of digitality without having a proper definition of what it is. So I want to make a pause to ask if you are hearing okay, if you said everything okay with the volume, because I don't know.
Everything I hear
Yeah.
you just fine. If the rest have a
Okay,
problem,
okay,
please
perfect.
write it
Thank
in
you.
the chat and we'll deal with it, but I hear you just fine.
Okay, thank you, Sophia. So for me, this statement is a very game changer in the way that we understand and work with digitality. So what is digitality? And my proposal, which is not mine, but is a whole tendency in the studies of digital life, is that we have to understand digitality as a dimension of the being. This affirmation is very thoughtful. It's complex, but it's simplifying the way that we think on digitality. So a dimension of being, which means we are beings that exist through the space of digitality. And in the same way that the real life as the real dimension give us some characteristics. So we have to be in this space and time, in this world, in this physical world. But in digital life, we have other rules. And these rules define our very own existence inside of this dimension. When we start to thinking about this, we start to understanding how digital life touch everything about our lives, from our professional activities and productivity, from our life, our communication, but also, and this is another connection with the concept of mindfulness, is touching our conscious states. So the way we are thinking and experiencing life. How can we connect with the other, which is communication, but is mediated with the idea of the very own rules of this dimension, this digital dimension. Going on this train of thought, we can arrive to see, okay, so if we exist in this new dimension, and we have to follow the rules of this new element, of course, one big part is to be trained of the new technologies, the new things that are happening inside of this space of digitality. But this is not all, because there is another big part that is related with perception, consciousness, the way we relate with images, content, speed, the way we have our relation with time and existence in a space where time and space are completely differently organized from traditional life. So in the moment that we broke up in this new dimension, our existence have been completely full in this space that have very different things. So are we prepared to exist in digital life? No one have made this question to any one of us. So we've been just inside of this space and understanding how it's worked while it's already working. And this is another part because present is so important to understand digitality, because we have not even time to understand the idea of future, because we are fully trying to understand the very own present and the new things and the things that are changing for one moment to the other, 1 second to the other. Digitality is evolving and transforming. So my point is giving to you in this conversation some theoretical and more or less methodological instruments to deal with this statement. So if digitality is a dimension of the being, how can we hear and to be the fully potential of our existence if we don't really understand what is going on, what is happening, but we are already experiencing it? So we are feeling inside. The kind of things that I want to propose you are coming from social systems theory. And one of the main understandings of this theory about society and individuals, which is also a strong statement of this theory, is that we are systems, we as individuals, but also we are systems as communication, so as relations. And this allows us to have the idea that individual systems, which also are completely related with consciousness, so our systems of consciousness, individuals, have the other side that are systems of communication, which are our relations. In digitality, we, persons, which we are systems of complexity, we live fully in the conscious part and in the communication part. There is an interesting point of view presented recently in a book published by one of the chief innovators of Lenovo, where he proposed about artificial intelligence. He proposed the idea that our cell phones are actually the third part of our brain. Thinking in this idea of our brain have two sides, this is a very traditional idea of brain, which actual modern neuroscientists are not exactly following this idea, but as a metaphor is interesting. So we have left brain and right brain. And so now we have third brain, which are our cell phones. What this means, they are actually a gadget of memory and a gadget of processing and a gadget of connection, which our very own brain is. I don't fully agree with this idea, but I would like to follow the metaphor to saying digitality is already inside or a part of our mind, not our brain, because the brain is the organical part, okay? But the mind is something that it can be understood as an extension. So our mind can be happening in our brain, but actually, and for a lot of cultures, the mind is something that happens around and connected with a lot of things. The interesting thing about this is when we try to understand, so complexity in digital life means that there is a very own part of our being, socially, mentally, so our thoughts, that exist in this dimension, have an existence. And this existence, it needs to follow the rules of this new dimension. When we try to understand things in this point, we have to have something that explains us how these elements are going to be organized, how this is really working, and so we need this theoretical frame. From a systemic point of view, since we are beings of complexity, we are made from three different systems. So we persons are social system, which is our communication relation with others. We are individuals, which are our mind, our thoughts, and we are body. So the system of organic body, okay? These three systems, and this is a key of social systems theory, are separated and closed. So they are black box. This means that these three systems needs to be connected between one and the other to have an harmony, to be on balance. So we persons, we are not a unity. We are three systems connected and working together. If you follow this idea in the mindfulness context, you can fully agree with the fact that body and mind are separated, and so we have to work on it to can get in balance. So in general, when in some of these disciplines, they say you have to listen to your body in order to get fully in present, to get the connection with your perception and your sensations. It means that if you need to hear something, it's because it's outside. It's not part of you. And so for social systems theory, in fact, this is the main core of the explanation of this model of society. So society is a system made by our communication. Individuals are systems made of thought and consciousness. And body, organical system, is made about life. So it's a system that is alive and try to keep alive. These three systems needs to be connected, needs to have this way of communicate, which means that they are completely separated and closed. But in digitality, these three systems have a part. So our body have a part in our digital life. And actually just try to think in the way that we are measuring our very own body. We have the smartwatch, we have the cell phone that follow us and track us in our activities. And so we can hear the body across the device. Digitality is helping us to hear our body more accurately with data tracking, having the possibility to create a dialogue with our very own body using the very own instruments that we use to communicate with others. We cannot think in a present without these ways of communication. So actually, our cell phones and our devices are allowing us to communicate, but is not communicate in the traditional way between people, but is communication between systems, very different kind of systems. If the complexity of the individuals, society, and bodies give us the idea of this interconnectedness of systems, think about our connection of other systems, like cybernetical systems. And here is where we can see the idea of artificial intelligence. For social systems theory, now we have the view and the proposal to understand in artificial intelligence in a very different way, which is about not intelligence. The discussion is not about intelligence, because actually the concept of intelligence needs to be fully, completely changed to understand the phenomena. So the proposal of Elena's Esposito work, which she is one of the main exposers of this social systems theory, she speaks about of artificial communication. And artificial communication is what happens between individuals, so mind systems, communication, social systems, and algorithms. So we are communicating with algorithms. And this is another point of digital life that I want to emphasize. In digital life, we don't communicate directly between persons. Not even when you write a message in your private chat, not even there. You are not speaking directly with a person. You are being mediated by algorithms. And so we communicate with algorithms primarily. Even before the new artificial intelligence. New artificial intelligence, the new generation of generative AI, are giving us the idea of this huge changement, of this completely change of order in our digital life, in technology in general, and obviously in the organization is in our very own society. But this have been happening in some slow mood in all the process of digital life, but now with this speed up of artificial intelligence, we cannot see where we are going, but we need to clarify where we are in this moment. And this is important of present. I would like to use these last 10 minutes that we have to be very precise on what can mean to have a practice of mindfulness in digital life, and why I say this is a need. It's not just a good idea, it's not a good topic to chat about or think about. No, it's a need. Because if we see that our mind, our body, and our communication is happening in this new dimension, we have to take care of all of these balance, systemic balance, with techniques that allowed us to be in present, to be in communication and in balance, but actually to be healthy, to have a healthy digital life. The implication of content consumption in this moment, not in the future, today in our young population, and today in our older population, because seniors are taking over Facebook in a very massive way, and they are living all their society and their social stimulus in the screens. And what this means for minds and what it means for bodies is very important to face and to understand. Our brain is being fed off of content, and these have very strong implications in our brain chemistry, in what is happening inside of there. And actually, there are new findings about the way that we are practically completely addicted to the content, the speed of content. And this is creating a completely different way to see reality, to experience reality, and are compromising some of our, how can I say, our social mind health problems, if I can say in this way, because it's actually a moment in which we can already observe after pandemic times how some aspects of our mind traits are being completely changed for the way that we use technology in daily life. So I don't want to go further because I know that we have just a few minutes more, and I would like to open up the discussion and to get on with you in this. I was just briefly giving you some points about what is my personal understanding from the point of view of social systems theory, but what I would like to hear from you is what is your very own thoughts and experience about, and to have some space to open the discussion. Thank you so much, Sophia. I'm sorry about the volume. Hope that everyone heard everything.
Thank you so much, Emma. As always, it's eye-opening, and you get to connect different sides of the brain and understand better, because we always think about what's happening, and like Andrea said, changes here, changes there, coming sooner. But it feels like when I hear you talk, you put everything in one place. Start with the present, think about what it is, connect your systems, and then start understanding what's happening, if I've understood it correctly. But it's very interesting. I don't know if does anybody have any questions? Because we have people coming from training organizations, we have public sector organizations, NGOs, youth organizations. And it's interesting that you gave the concept of digitality, because we don't usually use digitality. we talk about digital literacy, we talk about digital mindfulness, but digitality is something completely different. And I think it's worth, noting and starting going back a little bit. It felt like you went back to the basics, understanding what we're talking
Yes.
about so that you can cope with what you're living right now and then slowly prepare for the future.
Yeah, actually, Sophia, I found the urgency to open up any discussion of digital life with the concept of digitality, because actually it's a concept that no one gave us in any moment in all the development of this technology, because we practically, it was like a dimensional space that just opened up and no one named it properly. And no one say, okay, what is this? I am inside of. And so we have different names, but everything related with technology. So we have VR, we have ER, we have a very different technologies. And we are very specific in to speak about technologies, but we have to go the big picture to can see, okay, where we are and what are the implications of this. And this is the way that we can open up a discussion going, yes, basics, but substantials. More than basics are substantials, these concepts. After that, we can have a clear idea of where we are.
It feels like a wave that is coming in, a social wave made of technology, sweeping every little bit of piece of your life, and changing everything.
Yes.
So it feels something.
Yes, but interesting part, Sophia, is that it's not just social, it's also individual, it's also consciousness and mind. It's also inside here. It's changing the way that we perceive and thought. And so there is actually this part, because if we remain with the idea that, okay, digitality is about communication, connection, and actually this other point that I emphasize again is not just communication between persons or society in general, is communication with what posthumanism called other species. And as other species, we understand algorithms.
This is a discussion for another
which is a
time.
very provocative
Very
thought.
nice, yes. Any questions from other people? Because I feel like I can ask you 100 questions. That's okay. You can send all the questions to me if you think, because it's a lot of information to take. Very interesting, and see how that can apply both to yourself and to your environment and to your work and everything. Thank you so much, Emma, for your insights, for your wonderful presentation, and always very eye-opening, and always very, it feels like you've reached the point where you explain to us where we're going to come in the future. So it feels safe, and it feels, yes, she knows what she's talking about, and I can rely on how my brain functions and going towards technology. So if you don't have any questions for Emma,
thank you so much, Sophia. I would like to share with you and with the assistants later by mail some books or articles related with particularly social systems theory, the reading of artificial intelligence in the way of understanding as artificial communication, which is actually a book recently published and is open source, so I can share with you. And it can give you a lot of answers, because we are looking for answers and ways to cope in this era. And the better is the understanding of the main points of what is happening. And in the other side, I would like to use this last minute to give you an idea about how important is to have an understanding of artificial intelligence in this moment. And so face it as artificial communication and understanding algorithms as partners of communication with us. This is key point.
Thank you. And we will post, I wrote it also on the chat, whatever you send us, Emma, we will post it on the Facebook of the DigiMind for Youth project. And also save the date. Emma is talking to us again on the 17th of May
Okay.
on ChatGPT and its role in education. So thank you. Take care. Have a lovely weekend. We have Easter ahead here in Greece. So next week is going to be full of
Great. Yeah.
good. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Beautiful. Enjoy.
Thank
I
you.
would like to be there. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you to my students that come here, my students from VR course. They are VR developers. So thank you so much for joining us.
Good.
And thank you to everyone. And see you next month.
Yes.
Hope to have a very helpful conversation about ChatGPT, which is going to be huge from now on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.